Hey everyone, and welcome. We're about to dive in and seriously boost your vocabulary with some fantastic new words and phrases. The goal here is simple, to give you the tools to make your speaking and writing sound even better. So, how are we going to do this? It's a simple four-step process for every single word. First, you'll listen to me say it so you get the pronunciation just right. Then, we'll break down what it means. After that, we'll look at words that are similar and opposite to it. And finally, and this part is absolutely key, you're going to pause and write your very own sentence. That's how these words stop being just words on a screen and really become yours. All right, you ready? Let's get started with our first batch of words. First up, we have motocross. Listen carefully, motocross. So what is it? Well, it's in super exciting sport, basically motorcycle racing, but on really rough, bumpy ground. Think of it like dirt biking on a whole other level. For example, you could say, he enjoys motocross because it is so thrilling. Okay, now it's your turn. Go ahead, pause, and write your own sentence. Next, let's look at the word conventional. This is an adjective we use for anything that follows the usual, traditional way of doing things. For instance, you might say, she follows conventional methods in her work. It just means she sticks to the tried and true ways. All right, pause the explainer and give it a shot yourself. Our next term is off-road. This one's pretty straightforward. It's used to describe anything that happens away from normal paved roads, so on rough, rugged ground. For example, they went on an incredible off-road journey. Okay, time for you to take the wheel. Pause and write your sentence. And here we have a noun, nomads. Nomads are groups of people who don't live in one place. Instead, they move around, often with the seasons to find food or resources. A good example is, nomads often travel in search of food and water for their animals. You got it? Pause and write your sentence. Now for a really useful word, insignificant. Something that's insignificant is just too small or unimportant to really matter. It doesn't change the big picture. For example, don't worry about it. The mistake was insignificant. Okay, your turn to practice. Go ahead and pause. Here's a familiar one, vet. It's simply the short and common way to say veterinarian, an animal doctor. So you might say, the vet was very gentle when she treated the dog. Pretty easy, right? Give it a go with your own sentence. Now for a beautiful adjective, unspoiled. When a place is unspoiled, it means it's still in its natural, pure state. It hasn't been damaged or built on by people. Imagine a perfect, untouched beach. For example, the remote forest is completely unspoiled. Your turn to describe something beautiful. Pause and write. Let's look at the verb diminishing. This just means that something is slowly becoming smaller, weaker, or less. You can talk about the diminishing light as the sun goes down, or maybe your phone's diminishing battery life. Let's see what you come up with. Pause and write. Moving on to inhabited. If a place is inhabited, it simply means that people or animals live there. It's the opposite of deserted or abandoned. For instance, the small island is inhabited by just a few families. Your turn. Pause the explainer and create your sentence. Here's a great word for describing size. Vast. It doesn't just mean big. It means incredibly, enormously huge. You can talk about the vast ocean, a vast desert, or even a vast amount of knowledge. Try it out for yourself. Pause and write. Let's try this verb, bemoan. Bemoaning something is more than just complaining. It's expressing sadness or disappointment about it. You might hear someone say, she bemoaned her bad luck after missing the train. Okay, your turn. Pause and use it in a sentence. And now for a wonderful concept, nirvana. Nirvana is a feeling of perfect peace, happiness, and bliss. For some people, listening to their favorite song is like a moment of nirvana. Try to capture that amazing feeling in a sentence. Go on, pause and write. Here's an interesting noun, yurt. A yurt is a type of round, portable tent that was traditionally used by nomads in Central Asia. You might see them at cool camping sites these days. For example, for their holiday, they stayed in a cozy yurt. Now you try. Pause and write your sentence. Our last word for this section is cast iron. Now, while it is a type of heavy metal, we often use it to describe something that is incredibly strong or unbreakable. You can have a cast iron promise, or, like in the example, she has a cast iron will. Your turn. Pause and write your final sentence for this part. Great job on all those words. Now, let's switch gears a bit. Language is also about phrases and expressions, so let's master a few that you'll hear all the time. First up is falls short. We use this when something doesn't quite meet our hopes or expectations. When it's just not as good as you thought it would be. For example, sometimes a movie sequel falls short of the original. Now, pause and write about something that didn't quite hit the mark. I bet you've heard this one, bucket list. It's just a fun name for a list of all the things you dream of doing in your lifetime. For example, you could say, traveling to Japan is at the very top of my bucket list. What about you? Pause and write a sentence about something on your bucket list. And our final expression is burning desire. Now, this isn't just a small wish. It's a really powerful, intense ambition to achieve something. For instance, the scientist had a burning desire to find a cure. Last one. Pause and write about a burning desire you can imagine. That was fantastic work. You've just added a whole bunch of new words and phrases to your toolkit. But learning them is only half the battle. The real magic happens when you start using them, and that brings us to your daily challenge. Your challenge, if you choose to accept it, is simple. Try to use at least 3 of these new words or expressions every day. Try them out when you're talking to friends, use them in your schoolwork, anywhere you can. The more you practice, the more natural it will feel, and the more confident you'll become. And that's a wrap. Remember, building a great vocabulary is a journey, not a destination. Keep learning, stay curious, and you'll see amazing progress. If you found this helpful, we'd love it if you'd like, share, and subscribe to Nest Lingua Clarity. Thanks so much for joining me.